Hey, what's up everybody, it's Marcus. Shh, check this out. I got the first 35 1.2 autofocus lens for the Nikon Z system. No, not really, but I made one. It's the 35 1.2 Sigma Art for Sony. I actually have a special autofocus adapter, and I put this on my Z5, and I used it like that, and you're watching that right now. I want to show you how the autofocus performed, look at some of these files, you know, in studio and on a special shoot here, and subscribe, because in the next couple videos we're going to have this Z5 versus the R5 and the Z5 versus my GFX, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. But for all the people that are curious to see how this adapter works and how Sony lenses work on this Nikon system, let's get into it. And please go to ProPhotoEdits.com where you can download my Lightroom presets and Photoshop actions. Every image that you've seen me upload here on YouTube and on my website, on my Instagram, has been edited with these presets. And I want to let you guys know that my online creative lighting and editing course is finally up. And this is so much in depth. I've been working on this for such a long time. It's complete behind the scenes. Everything I use to get these creative lighting in studio looks, and the complete edits, so you get the raw file, you get the preset to go along with it, and you get the screen recorded edit showing you how I touch it up and take it over the top. So this is all the really creative looks that you've seen on my Instagram. You go there and check them out, how I get those looks and how to make the studio a fun place to shoot and not so boring. So it's 50% off right now, and I'm gonna double the price here soon, so go check that out. And last week I also uploaded another bonus video in there for you, how I get this light bending technique that everyone's been asking me about on my Instagram page. So I break it down in complete details what you need to get this look completely in camera. Alright, so let's get to this review. So the adapter that I'm using is the TechArt TZE-01 autofocus adapter for FE mount to the Z mount, and it doesn't say Z5 on there, and it has pretty bad reviews, not too many reviews because not a lot of people are doing this, but I found it to be actually very surprisingly good, as long as you're not trying to track somebody like and full-blown running or moving too fast. Just for portraits and stuff that I do, I'll show you how I performed here in a second, and I was incredibly surprised. And studio, outside, even with my son, and then on this special car shoot with Shelby, and I'm gonna have the behind the scenes on this coming up with my R5 versus the Z5, you know, expensive Canon versus cheap Nikon, and then very expensive GFX versus the Z5, and I think you'll be surprised with all of that. But let's hop into this. Alright, first the bad. This does not do well with autofocus, and I wasn't expecting it to in video on the Z5. You see how it just totally racks in and out right there? Now if you have it like a stationary subject, and you can see I'm getting kind of closer to him now, and it's holding up pretty well, wide open at 1.2, which is pretty surprising. But whenever it loses focus, it either jumps back in real quick, or it does that crazy pulsating focus breathing type effect. So I would not get this for anything except for talking head video. If you're filming yourself, it might pass for that, but if you need to do any pro work or just even semi-pro work, no, not a chance. So let's get into the good parts that I really like about this. So taking these images of Shelby and my buddy Cliffy's old car, I have this whole full shoot coming up, and you can actually see a lot of the shoot on my Instagram, and I shot it with 3 different cameras. But you're looking at the Z5 right now with the 1.2 wide open on it, and I'm just using zone focusing with a I guess not the smallest selection you can have, but the second one up from that. And I just want you to watch it kind of acquire and then grab, and then we'll look at some of these files, and I'll show you how accurate it was from file to file. So I have it set on tracking, so it's like it's tracking her in the meantime, even when I'm not focusing. And then you can see that it doesn't really have a major problem reacquiring focus when I move closer, when I get back. I was super surprised by that, because I was expecting this kind of be like pretty terrible, you know, just based on all the reviews. And it might be terrible with other lenses. I'm just gauging it on this lens in this particular shoot. And you can see I'm getting closer, and it's not really missing any shots. You know, I found that the Z system does miss a lot more shots than my R5, and that's just across the board, you know. Doesn't matter what lens I have on there from Nikon or whatever. It's just the autofocus isn't as good. That's why I didn't use the autofocus here, because it was shooting at 1.2. I couldn't trust it for that, so I'd rather just make sure that I'm actually acquiring where I want to acquire. And I had pretty good results here. You can see that surprisingly, when we hop into Lightroom and check out these files, and the files are beautiful on the Z5, but that's for another day when I review this camera. The autofocus is really good. You can see that it's not really hunting at all. I mean, it's just for the brief second it acquires as I'm moving in and out, but I mean, that's pretty much what most cameras on the market. There's that right there was a little bit of a stutter, but that's just like very basic. See, I got really close, back into my zone. Again, super close, far away. Didn't really take much time. Now, I wouldn't be using this at a wedding per se, but for portraits, if you just really love this lens, I think this is a pretty decent investment. Alright guys, so let's take a look at some of these files, and then I'll let you see some of the other files of my son, and just see how the autofocus worked, tracking him around the back porch. But from the real shoot, I just want you to see, let's zoom in and we're going to look at these together. Now, the Z5, you know, doesn't have the resolution of the R5 or the GFX, but it's actually pretty good. I mean, for 24 megapixels, and I really love the colors. The dynamic range is way above its price point, and I love Nikon colors, but you can see that this eye is in focus. Now, how in focus it would be on the Z7, I mean, how sharp it would be on the Z7, I'm sure it would be sharper, just because of it doesn't have the low pass filter and it's higher megapixels, so I could really zoom in a little bit further. So this is straight out of camera, and I put all my cameras when I get them to like 5600 Kelvin, because I like to have a nice warm image when I'm looking on the back of the screen. That's my one knock on the Z5, is the screen on the back is terrible. If you shoot through the viewfinder, it's still kind of bad. It's cheap viewfinder, cheap LCD, and it doesn't bother you as much except when you're switching cameras and you have a really nice back, like on the R5 or Z7 or whatever, and then you go back to the Z5 and it's just, it looks crunchy, you know. It's just low resolution, but your files don't, so it just kind of plays tricks on your mind, which I do not like. But I'm just going to put the same preset on all these. It's a little bit over the top, but this is the editorial glow preset from my pack, and I used a lot of this on these images to show you that they edit really well. You can push the colors around. And let's go in here again. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much in focus, and you're not really gonna miss as many shots as you would think with the adapter that's made from Sony to Nikon. Looks pretty much in focus. I don't know how much resolution this is gonna have on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, that's as in focus as I could say that it needed to be, zooming in this far on a Z5 file. Let's put it that way. Yeah, eye is the most in focus part. Now, if that was a Z7, we'd really be able to tell if we were out of focus or not. Even through the hair there, and I was just, you saw how I was shooting. I was rapid fire. Single shot though, it wasn't continuous, just because I don't really like to shoot like that. And I mean, the focus is right around this point right here, but it definitely didn't focus on the hair in front of her face. So it's very much close enough. You could use that for, you know, any type of work that you wanted. And I use this preset, and I just bumped up the shadows a little bit on there. Same preset, and just to give it some life. Yeah, I can't really say, looking through all these files, let's just go and run them 1.2. I'm at 2500th of a second. Let's bump this exposure up a little bit. Wait for it to load. I mean, it looks in focus to me. The Z5 going in that far, I don't think you're going to have the resolution that you need to really pixel peep, right? So on the Z7, you definitely be able to tell whether you were out or in. You know, right here, going in this far, I mean, that's a total usable file. Impressed. I can't really say at any time during this shoot that it really let me down. Yeah, Looks in focus to me. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing on your end, considering that you've got YouTube compression. All right, here's a better shot. We can probably get in closer since I was closer. Yeah, it got the eye, but 1.2, you have to understand, like, it got the bottom of the eye in focus. You can see me in her eyes, and this is a lower resolution camera, so I can't make a bunch of excuses for it. It just is what it is. It got this in focus. The bottom eyelashes are out of focus. The top eyelashes are out of focus. So the eye is what's in focus there. That's really good considering I was shooting again and again and again and again and again. Let's go in here. I would say that's acceptable. The focus is right around this point. Alright, so I just had my son on the back porch. I had just taken the camera out of the bag, put the lens and the adapter on there, and I had it on eye autofocus. So let's see how that worked. And I was probably a little bit closer to him, so I'll be able to tell a little bit better. Single shot, of course. I'm not trying to do continuous, because I think continuous on there is too slow. I don't think it does a lot of frames per second. I don't have the information offhand because I generally never shoot like that. Okay, so it missed that second shot by a little bit. You're not going to get Sony level IAF, just to be completely honest with you. But even at even with glasses made for the Z system, the Nikon stuff is still not as good eye autofocus as the others, but I think the files are better. So there's a certain trade-off you have to be able to live with. Again, got it. And you know, he's holding still a little bit, as much as a 2-year-old can, you know, so I don't think that we're gonna, let's see. Yeah, so that's sharp on my end. That's really sharp on my end. Look how sharp that is. So, and that was with the eye autofocus. So I think we can say that this lens is definitely usable with that adapter for portrait scenarios, you know, at least the case that I was using it in. I don't think, I mean, he had a fall, so you can see he's looking pretty beat up, but he's happy. Oh, he needs a little toy and he's happy here. Alright, so my final conclusions on this. As long as you're not using it for video, like this R5 video that you're watching right now, I think it's really good for the money. If you have some Sony glass, I don't know who's really in this scenario, but I wanted to see how Sony glass performed on the Nikon. This was my experiment, and I used it in the darker studio settings. I'm gonna post those files next week when I go and I do the Z5 versus the R5 video, and I think you'll be impressed with that. But the Z7, it would be my choice because I love that camera. I love the files from that camera more than most other cameras out there. And this is very usable for static portraits to, you know, slow moving portraits, and nothing further than that. But I hope this helped you out. And hopefully it won't be too much longer before Nikon decides to put a 35 1.2 out. I think they have an 85 1.2 on the roadmap, but some of those lenses people just love, and I do. So that might get me back into the system. I don't know. But until next week, please subscribe. Thank you for watching this. I love you guys. It's Marcus.